Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire. You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge.
Let's ride! Woo! Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR live from Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center and presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. We're fired up to be here and thrilled to welcome a Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer, an LSU Hall of Famer, one of the greatest gymnasts in the history of the very decorated LSU gymnastics program, April Burkholder. Good enough to just, well, that's your maiden name. But do I have to introduce you as April Burkholder?
That's fine.
I guess so, right?
Yeah, it works.
Newly minted Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer, just inducted this past June. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
Very well deserved. How did you get into the spirit space? April's with us here as the brand rep for Sagamore Spirit. I'm going to move this over here so it's not blocking your face.
I don't know if we have that much time.
We got all the time we need.
I mean, I don't think anyone wakes up and they're like, hey, I want to be, I want to sell liquor for a living. It just kind of happens and you fall into it. For me, I was pursuing something else and started doing some brand ambassador work on the side, and then wasn't pursuing that thing anymore. And then there was a job opening for Anheuser-Busch, and I got a call and was like, hey, do you want to come interview for Anheuser-Busch? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then, boom, that was history. Worked for them for several years, and then jumped over to Spirits and launched a tequila brand, and then launched Sagamore for 6.5 years. And then in the last year and a half, we were acquired by DiSerrano.
Very nice.
Now we have,
we were talking before the show a little bit about, and we're very grateful for the opportunity too. I know you reached out about trying to move into this market and into Louisiana. You're based in Houston, and you have East Texas, and then in Louisiana. It's a great opportunity to sort of introduce our audience, if people know me as a whiskey nerd, to Sagamore Spirit Rye. Give me the Cliff's Notes backstory, because I think it's a fascinating story of the history of this brand it's very old and then reborn.
Mm-hmm. So our founder, Kevin Plank, founded Under Armour.
Yeah.
And he's from Baltimore, so I always had a passion for everything Maryland. And he actually bought Sagamore Farm from the Vanderbilt family about 16 years ago and revived Maryland horse racing because there was deep roots. And I think his nephew was allergic to horses, and it wasn't as profitable as he thought. So he decided, what else can I bring to light that is all things Maryland? Started digging and doing some research, and come to find out, Maryland Rye is the first American whiskey. So it goes all the way back to the 1600s, tobacco farmers using it as a cover crop. Disappeared during Prohibition. This is Cliff's Notes version I'm trying.
Yeah.
So disappeared during Prohibition, and then nobody's brought it back since Sagamore, and we just turned 8 years old in May.
It's awesome. So 8 years old, and there's a couple different offerings, right? So I'm drinking the double oaked here, but there's the small batch, the double oaked, and you have a cash strength as well?
Correct, yeah.
And what else is there any other ones I'm missing?
So those are the three in our core lineup that are year round, and then outside of that we do some limited releases. So we just had a 10-year-old land. which is actually a 10-year-old MGP rye, which you cannot find anywhere. So, I mean, that one, when it hits, it's going to go.
Why is 10-year-old MGP rye hard to find?
Because 10-year-old rye tends to age faster than corn. So for us and our master distiller, which he doesn't like to say he's a master distiller, but he is. He's like 10 years is the sweet spot. You don't really want to go much past that. So we've done an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, and this is a 10-year-old.
Okay.
But this might be the last, and it's MGP juice. And so
awesome.
you're just not going to find out.
No, there's several retailers in the Baton Rouge area that are carrying Sagamore. I would encourage anybody, restaurants, bars, they reach out to you if they're interested in carrying. Who do they reach out to if they're interested in carrying or learning more?
Yes, they can reach out to me, Coulter@DiSerono.com. And Coulter is my
the married name. Yes, I am just programmed to say April Burkholder, but Coulter. And you're on LinkedIn and everything as well. We'll make sure that we have Sagamore tagged and everything from the show today, so we'll have all that. But if you're a restaurant or a bar, it's must. It's fantastic for cocktails. I know we got a couple of craft cocktails here today that we're offering with Sagamore Spirit. It's great. I'm drinking this neat rocks, whichever your preference is. So fill us in on life for people who remember you as a gymnast at LSU from a few decades ago. We're the same age. We were there at the same time. Fill us in on life since you left LSU.
So immediately when I left, I moved to San Diego, and I was an acrobat at SeaWorld.
No way. Are you serious?
It's funny because the head coach of UCLA gymnastics she was also the head choreographer of that show. So sophomore year, we had nationals at UCLA. Right after floor, she walks over. Me and Dee Dee are standing there, and she comes over to me and she says, "Hey, how would you like to come be on my show when you graduate?" And I was like, "Yeah."
What's your show? Did you know she was talking about SeaWorld?
She goes, "Come, my SeaWorld show in California." And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Okay, I'll save you a spot." And then she walked off, and Dee Dee looks at me and she goes, "After you graduate," is what she said, because I still had 2 years left.
All right, so wait, you were riding on whales and stuff?
No, we were the only show that had no animals and on stage.
Okay.
We were the last show of the night at 11 o'clock. We had 2 shows a night, and the last one was at 11, so we closed the park down. But very entertaining. There was acrobats, there was drummers, there was contortionists, which were originally rhythmic gymnasts, which they are contortionists already.
For sure.
And it was super entertaining. So even on my day off, I would watch the show and be entertained. So.
That's amazing. So then fill us in. All right. So from there, what brought you back to Houston?
From there, I turned down going to Cirque du Soleil when they came to recruit.
Oh my God! Really?
Because you have to go to. I was signed to a dance agency already in LA, and I was kind of back and forth, LA to San Diego, and pursuing music too. And you had to move to Montreal for 3 months, and then you didn't know where they were going to put you. So I could have ended up on a world tour for 5 years, or I could have ended up. So I just said, no, I'm pursuing something else. And then California is crazy, and I was renting out a house, had 2 roommates, and we were paying rent to people who the house already foreclosed, and we didn't know. So we had 3 days. I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't prepared for 3 days.
Life in your 20s, oh my God.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I moved back to Houston. I just packed up and drove my car back home and started coaching, and that's what brought me back.
You still get to keep in touch with Dee Dee or with Jay Clark and stay present with the program?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to come back every year. I don't think I can come back next year, but I have been. I think I've only missed maybe 2 years of our alumni weekend. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah. It's pretty amazing to see how much the program has continued to grow and develop. Obviously winning the elusive championship finally a couple of years ago, which Jay's done a great job carrying the torch from Dee Dee. And I mean, Haley Bryant the last 4 years has been, or I guess 5 years, has been amazing to watch. So what do you think about the young talent on the team?
I mean, I'm excited about them. I just think that they have been coming together more and more, which is so important. Coming together on that one day that means everything is what gymnastics is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you win a national championship. So Jay's a great recruit. He always has been. He recruited me when he was at Georgia.
Okay. Wow.
So it's funny now that he's here, and our assistant coach at the time has now gone to Georgia. Well, I don't know if he's still there, but he was.
We're going to get to our pick'em here in just a quick second. It's always interesting too whenever we get to talk to someone. So April was, as we mentioned, elected to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. What was that like getting the call that you'd been elected?
It was it's a huge honor, first off. And Dee Dee actually, I think she blew the cover. I don't think she was supposed to tell me, but she texted me, and I don't remember what exactly she said, but I had a feeling when she said that. She's like, "Call me, I got some news," and I was like, "Okay, Dee Dee, it's something, you know."
It's something, yeah.
And so I had a feeling when she said that, and then But those guys do a great job. They made everybody feel very special, and it's just a huge honor. So it was a great week, and those memories are forever. So.
Well, it's very, very well-deserved, well-earned, one of the most decorated gymnasts in the history of the LSU program, now a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, April Burke-Coulter, who's hanging out with us here, and she's the reason we are here because she brought Sagamore spirit here to Don Juan, and that's why we're all hanging out. But it is a Football Friday, which means we get to pick 10 games. Muse, hit the music if you would. All right. You were a little nervous about this.
No.
I was quizzed to make sure, what do I need to know? I said, it doesn't matter if you know anything. Charles Alexander was our guest picker. They retired his jersey last week at the LSU-Florida game. And I think he's
going into Louisiana Sports 2026, isn't he?
He's in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. They just at the Florida game this past weekend retired his number 4, his jersey at LSU. But when Charles was with us last week, I think he gave one-word answers to every one of these. I don't think he gave us any kind. So you're okay, I promise. All right, this is a guy whose jersey's retired at LSU for football. All right, so you're good.
Good to know.
All right, 10 games. It's easy. Terrio did not send me his pick, so he's wearing another nothing burger this week, burying him further in the standings. All right, 10 games. Let's start with a big one in the Big 12. It's Texas Tech and Utah. They're playing that one at 10 a.m. in Utah. It's big noon kickoff. They're going to kick off at 10 a.m. in Utah. Who do you like?
Tech.
Texas Tech? Spent a lot of money. That's just
my brother went there.
Okay, I was going to say the Texas Ties. Whatever your reason, I'd say I'm going to go opposite April. I'm going to take Utah. I think the 2 Utes at home get it done, but I do think Texas Tech, incredibly talented team. I do think that'll be a close game, but I'll take Utah. All right. We'll stick in the state of Texas. You should know all this. The state of Texas.
Yeah.
SMU, TCU. Who do you know from either of those?
TCU. I have a colleague that went there.
Yeah, I should have picked all games in the state of Texas. I'll ride with you on that one as well. TCU at home. The Ponies last year were a playoff team, but I like TCU in this ball game at home to get it done. Big one in the SEC, Auburn at Oklahoma. This is a prove-it game. Who you got?
Oklahoma.
I'm riding with you again on Oklahoma. Oklahoma, the home team. John Mateer has been impressive. I think that's probably my biggest surprise so far of this college football season. Maybe my biggest, I don't know if I would say miss, but I needed to see it from John Mateer coming in from Washington State. He's been pretty great through 3 weeks. I think they'll get it done. I agree with you. All right. Tulane's at Ole Miss. So you have a little Louisiana, little SEC.
Ole Miss.
Why are you going Ole Miss?
My niece goes there.
You have a tie. It's perfect. You got a tie for every game. I love this Tulane team as the G5 representative or G6 for the college football playoff. They've already got 2 Power 4 wins. I do think they're going to win the American. And I think they're going to give Ole Miss all they want. I know Chambliss played really well last week in place at quarterback, and he'll get the start this week. But I think with a week game film and a week to prepare, that helps John Summerall's team. It's been 11.5, 13.5. It's wavered a little bit. I agree with you. I'm going to take Ole Miss to win the game on their home field, but I would not be surprised at all. I think Tulane is a live dog and could win that game outright. I think Ole Miss's defense stinks, and I think Tulane will score, and it's going to be a close game. All right, Michigan at Nebraska in the Big Ten. April, who you got?
Going Nebraska.
Nebraska at home?
Yeah.
We have a lot of agreement here. Bryce Underwood, freshman on the road, not buying it. I think Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, they took their lumps with the freshmen a year ago. They're ready to take that next step. They are at home, I think, Memorial Stadium. They are primed for a winner and a big one. They're 3-0, and I think they moved to 4-0. I will take Nebraska as well. South Carolina on the road at Missouri. Lenora Sellers is going to play for South Carolina. April, what do you think?
I'm going to go Missouri.
Mizzou at home. Mizzou's a 9.5-point favorite. I agree. I'll take Missouri. I've called South Carolina a fraud all offseason. I'm not moving off of that. They've done nothing to dissuade me. They stunk against Virginia Tech. They stunk at home against an FCS team, and they stunk at home against Vanderbilt and got the doors blown off of them. I don't think Rex Bex is a very good quarterback. He's a great athlete, and I completely agree. I think Mizzou gets this done at home. Still waiting for Mizzou to be really challenged, though, especially on the offensive side, so we'll see how they look. All right, a few more here. April Burkholder is our celebrity guest picker. Florida at Miami. Sunbelt Billy go pull an upset?
I'll go Florida.
You're going to go with Sunbelt Billy. April dropping a hammer, going with Florida to beat. Why? Who do you know at Florida?
Nobody.
You're just going Gators because SEC?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I am going to disagree with you. I think Florida stinks. Well, Florida's defense is very good.
As hard as it is to go with.
Yeah, to say Gators,
SEC, though.
No doubt. But Florida is a program that is reeling. I think Billy Napier is in the heart of the roughest stretch of their schedule. I do not think they get out of this with Billy Napier keeping his job. Miami at home, Carson Beck's really good. That line's north of a touchdown. You could probably interest me in taking Florida with the points. Just because a rivalry game and a really good defense from Florida, I could be maybe persuaded a little bit there, but I'll take Miami to win the game. All right, 3 more. Illinois is at Indiana, a potential playoff eliminator here with these two teams.
This is tough, but I'm just going to go Indiana.
Indiana's at home. They are the favorite. I agree with you. Phil Steele told us earlier in the show, this is the first time since 1950 that Illinois and Indiana are meeting as both ranked teams. 1950. It's been 75 years since these two teams have played a ranked-on-ranked matchup. They'll do that in Bloomington, I agree, with Indiana. 2 more. Arizona State at Baylor. You're going with your Texas team, aren't you?
No, I was going to go Arizona State.
All right. Any reason why?
I mean, I just go back to, like, gymnastics, and I just...
Are they good?
Baylor doesn't have a D1.
Is Arizona State good at gymnastics?
They were decent.
Okay. All right.
They weren't, great, but they were decent.
I'm going to take Baylor in this one. Dave Aranda's defense had been great. Sawyer Robertson, the offense has been pretty good. Arizona State already lost at Mississippi State. I will take Arizona State. I will take Baylor to beat Arizona State. And then a layup here. Southeastern at LSU.
Come on.
I got that look right there. Yeah, Tigers all the way.
Yeah, go Tigers.
Tigers all the way.
Yeah.
April Burker, I have to show you one thing before you go. All right? And I know this is going to make me look like a total dork, but I mentioned we were in school together at the same time. Look at that.
What? Oh, my God. Wait, this was you?
That's me.
I remember this.
You honestly remember this?
I do.
So I
didn't know that was you.
I was a dorky jackleg student, and we'd get in the front of the student section for every home game, and we would take pictures. I gave it to my producer to put on. I knew I had this photo. So I knew I had the photo, and it's me and Jeff Dunaway holding April Burkholder. I guess that was our
That's
objective
hilarious.
to try to do some type of like gymnastics stunt. But I knew I had this picture in there for 20 years. I went and dug out an old box of photos and found it. So I was hoping you were going to be here so I could show you that.
I do remember that.
I would like to apologize for being that big of a dork to do that 20 years ago. And
That's
look,
awesome.
there it is right there. So
there you go.
About 20 years in the making now. I don't think we'll recreate it, but I will give you a toast. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Thanks for being a good sport. Thank you for the invitation. Of course, thank you for this opportunity today. It's a pleasure, and congratulations on all your success. We hope to do more together.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That is April Burkholder Coulter. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll continue here from Don Juan Cigar Bar. Got to give you a pick on LSU and a full pick and preview on LSU and Southeastern. Of course, we'll come back and we'll talk some Saints and Seahawks. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty, agent225.com, agent225.com. For Darren James and Associates, I got to challenge you to do something. If you're thinking about selling your home, you first have to know what you can get for it. What's it worth? Agent225.com has a very cool feature on the website, a very cool feature where you just type in, it's the home value tab. Desktop or mobile, just scroll down, click home value. As quickly as you can type in your address, you could have your home value instantly. And the benefit of using agent225.com as opposed to Zestimate or something like that is Darren is using actual local market data to give you a more accurate reflection of your price. Like, when was the last time Zillow was in your home? Agent225.com, agent225.com. Type in the home value tab right now at agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Rolling along here, 5 o'clock hour, AFR, live from Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. We are presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. Great to be here today. Great to introduce you all to this awesome brand that's been around since, you talk about the 1600s with Maryland Rye. That was rebirthed about 8 years ago, and it's delicious. Enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll come by here at Don Juan Cigar Bar, hang out with us, grab a pour of Sagamore Spirit Rye. And even if you can't come here, go to your local retailer, buy it. If they don't have it, ask for it. Restaurants, bars, ask for it by name, Sagamore Spirit Rye. Make sure you give it a shot. And thanks to April Burkholder for hanging out with us here as well and having some fun as our celebrity guest picker. Did not get picks from Terrio again, so I think he's got to wear the collar again. I think he's got to wear another 0-10. But I don't know. Maybe I'll give him an opportunity. He'll be generous and give him an opportunity to see if he wants to weigh in and throw them out. So here's what we'll do. I'll go ahead and give you my Saints-Seahawks preview prediction here. We'll do LSU-Southeastern, what to watch in the next segment, and then we'll wrap up with a little Ask Us if you want to get a question in. You can email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get your questions in, so feel free to do that. So the New Orleans Saints are 0-2, and they head up to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, trying to get off the schneid and get Spencer Rattler's first win as a starting quarterback and Kellen Moore's first win as an NFL head coach. It's an unenviable spot to try to go do it. As we look at this week for New Orleans, specifically what the big challenge is going to be is not only going on the road, but also the matchup that is maybe the biggest advantage that Seattle has is maybe the biggest question mark that New Orleans has. When you look at the New Orleans offensive line with Cesar Ruiz, who, as we've documented, is playing very poorly. James Hurst was with us earlier. Said he was even surprised by how poorly Cesar's played through 2 weeks. I'm not. Cesar Ruiz has been an average to below average starter in the NFL. He's a starter, but he's the lowest graded starter at his position. He's arguably the worst starter in the NFL at his position. Somebody has to be. You still be a starter, but you're just not a good one. And I think that's what you have right now with Cesar Ruiz. You have Taliesin Fuaga with an injured back and an injured knee at right tackle. You have Kelvin Banks, who's, feeling his way as a starter at left tackle here in his rookie season, only entering his third game. And then it looks like Trevor Penning, now Dylan Radin's out, it looks like Trevor Penning is going to return this week and get the start at left guard. The constant has been Eric McCoy, who's obviously been a stalwart at center, one of the best centers in the NFL during his career. The challenge for New Orleans is you got to go against a Seattle defensive front, which is as good as a defensive line, especially on the interior, as there is in the NFL. And that's really the challenge when you have this really strong defensive line with Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy and DeMarcus Lawrence and Jaron Reed. You have such a disruptive defensive front from Seattle against this New Orleans offensive line, which is young, inexperienced, injured, and not playing well. And oh, by the way, you have to go do it on the road with a second-year quarterback with his first time as a full starter, who's 0-8 as a starter, and a head coach who's 0-2 in his coaching career. Now, if you want the other side of this, the reason to think, okay, maybe there's some optimism that New Orleans can keep this close and find a way to win it. First of all, you've done that for the last 2 weeks. Home against Arizona and San Francisco, you found a way to keep both those games close and to have a possession at the end of the game where you could have won the game. If Juwan Johnson makes the catch, albeit a difficult catch, but if he makes the catch against Arizona, you're got an opportunity to probably go for a 2-point conversion to win that game, which is what I assume they would have done. A week ago against San Francisco, you had 2 possessions inside of 5 minutes to go win the game in a 5-point game. It was 26-21. You got the ball twice. You went 3 and out, and then you fumbled. So you just haven't been able to make the play late to win the game. I mean, look by contrast at what good teams do. And yes, I'll throw Baker Mayfield and Tampa in that mix. They're 2-0 to start the season because they've been able to put together late game drives to go win it like they did on Monday Night Football against the Houston Texans. The Saints have not been able to do that. But when you look at Seattle, this is a team that, in week 1 on their home field against San Francisco really struggled, man. They only put up 13 points on their home field in that game against the Niners and lost 17-13. Now, last week, they went to Pittsburgh across the country, and my goodness, did they pop right there. 31-17, they were the winner. Jackson Smith and Jigba, back-to-back games with 100 receiving yards to start the season for Seattle. So Sam Darnold at quarterback, who I can't argue has been spectacular through 2 weeks, but he certainly has been plenty good enough to win. In the opening week, he completed 70% of his passes against San Francisco. But no touchdowns, no picks, only threw for 150 yards. It was a low-scoring conservative game. They were leaning on their running game, but Jackson Smith and Jigba had 100 receiving yards. And then last week against Pittsburgh, he was 23 of 33, completed 67% of his passes, 2 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks, but he threw for a shade under 300 yards. So that opportunity is there. And especially with no Chase Young, the Saints might struggle to pressure Sam Darnold. And if you can't pressure Sam Darnold, one of the big questions is, do we trust the Saints cornerbacks like Kool-Aid McKinstry? Is he ready to be a lockdown corner against the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL? I don't know that we can definitively say that so far through these first 2 weeks. And this is a giant challenge now when you look at what Seattle is going to have on the outside in this ball game, especially with the way Jackson Smith and Jigba has started this season for the Seahawks with back-to-back 100-yard receiving games to start the season. So Zach Charbonnet is out. Kenneth Walker is still there, averaging better than 5 yards a carry so far through the first 2 weeks of the season. And remember, receiving outside of Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp is now in Seattle as well. Elijah Arroyo, their tight end there, is an option. So they may not have the depth of receiving options, but they certainly have top-level receiving options. We'll see how the Saints may match up there. I certainly hope it doesn't come down to a kick, because Blake Grupe already has missed a 40 and 37-yarder in each of the first 2 weeks for a guy that was so outstanding during training camp. To miss relative chip shots in the NFL that every NFL kicker should make 100 times out of 100 is certainly disappointing. But New Orleans goes on the road as a 7.5-point underdog in this ball game. I would love to see the Saints find a way to scratch out a win, but my feeling was I hoped they could split those first 2. And I didn't think they'd win at Seattle. Certainly didn't think they would win. Certainly don't think they will win at Buffalo next week. But really dreaded the thought of an 0-4 start. That's what they're staring down the barrel unless they can find it, because I don't think they're not winning next week in Buffalo. And anyone to suggest otherwise, it's just anything other than just the any given Sunday mantra. It's nonsensical. There isn't a logical reason to expect that. This is one where maybe you pressure Sam Darnold. Maybe you're able to get a little bit going in the running game. Maybe you get a turnover. Darnold did throw a couple of interceptions last week in Pittsburgh for Seattle against Pittsburgh. Maybe it's one of those things where you need a few things to break your way to be able to find a way to win this game. It's just hard to predict that happening. That's why the Saints right now are a 7.5-point underdog in this game, and I think that's probably how it ends up. I think you're probably looking at something like a 24-17 type of game. I think the Saints will find some success offensively, just not enough consistently, and I don't know that the Saints defense is good enough at this point that I can count on them to limit the run with Kenneth Walker, even with Zach Charbonnet not there, to be able to do enough on the road to try to find a way to get a win. So I will take Seattle to win this game. I think the spread around the number is probably about right. If you're betting it, I won't bet this game, but if you're betting it, the hook might provide some value. It's off the key number of 7, so 7 and a hook. The Saints with a touchdown and a hook, they've been able to keep 2 games close. I probably would like New Orleans with the points in this game, but I do think Seattle wins, drops the Saints to 0-3, and they're certainly going to lose next week in Buffalo to fall to 0-4. But as I've said since the preseason, would really target the Giants and the Patriots, the 2 home games after the Saints play their back-to-back road games, when they're home against the Giants in Week 5 and then home against the Patriots in Week 6. You can win those games. And even if it's splitting them and you win one of them, you can win those games. Then you go to the Bears, who have had some struggles here in the early part of this season as well. So there's some opportunity for New Orleans ahead. I just don't know that it's in these next 2 weeks on the road. So give me the Seattle Seahawks to win 24-17 in Seattle on Sunday. All right, it is After Further Review. We are glad to have you hanging out with us here in this Friday edition of AFR, presented by and live from Don Juan Cigar Bar. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson, he's the best. I love telling you about him all the time. Literally, when I say that, that's not just a throwaway line. I mean, Dr. Blake Williamson travels the world where he's invited to speak and to lecture and to teach ophthalmology because he's just on the cutting edge. And it's amazing that it's right here in Baton Rouge, but there's reasons people come from all over the state, the region, the country, and internationally to learn from and train under Dr. Blake Williamson because he has brought these groundbreaking procedures here to Baton Rouge. But in any event, whatever your age or refractive issue, if you want to see 20/20 without contacts or glasses, the Williamson Eye Center can make that happen for you. Just schedule that consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review, and we are thrilled to have you hanging out with us here. We got about 2 segments to go. Come back, I'll give you my thoughts, preview, prediction, what to watch for LSU and Southeastern. We'll wrap up the show with Ask Us. We are going to give away a couple of pair of tickets to LSU and Southeastern, and we have the commemorative baseball as well from Nyco Sports that we're going to be giving away. Just come by Don Juan, write your name on the sheet of paper, drop it in the bucket. We'll pull at the end of the show, and we'll hand out a couple of pair of tickets and the commemorative baseball. But you got to come here to Don Juan Cigar Bar. Make sure you try a pour of Sagamore Spirit Rye. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Excuse me, we'll knock out a quick break. Come back, I'll give you my preview prediction, what to watch for LSU and Southeastern. It's next on AFR.
AFR. After Further Review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
This is a big week for us to continue to improve. We've got a lot of work to do. Certainly from an offensive perspective, we feel like we're improving, but we need to be able to do that when it's time, and certainly Saturday gives us another opportunity to get to that level where we believe our offense will be.
Brian Kelly, what the expectation is for LSU this weekend as they host Southeastern Louisiana, a game that, as we sit here on Friday late afternoon, the line still isn't posted. And Power 4 plays in FCS, typically those lines aren't posted until Saturday, if at all. So, normally I would give you a preview and a prediction on the game and what to expect, but realistically, there's virtually no chance at all that Southeastern wins the game. We know that the issue is decided the second they tee it up and kick it off. It's just a matter of what the final score is going to be and how it all plays out. So instead, I'd like to give you a handful of things that I'd like to see on Saturday. And with apologies to Brian Kelly, I'll start with the offense. And notably, first is the passing offense. The passing offense this year hasn't been bad through 3 games. They're 62nd in the country in passing offense, but they're averaging 235 pass yards a game. And I'll remind you again, in the opener against Clemson, Garrett Nussmeier had a very efficient day. They only scored 17 points, but he threw for 232 on that day. He completed 28 of his 38 passes. His QBR was 84.6, and he was good. He won the National Offensive Player of the Week for going on the road and being that efficient. And I know we've said it at the risk of being redundant, but if the Berry and Brown touchdown stands, LSU wins by 2 scores. Nuss throws for 270. And a couple of touchdowns, and it's just a dramatically different feeling about how that all plays out. But still, we know that the vertical passing game is a weapon in this offense. With Chris Hilton, with Berry and Brown, with Nick Anderson, it's in there. And this week, against an inferior defensive front, your offensive line should hold up to give Nussmeier time to be able to stretch the field vertically, and you have such a decided advantage physically with your wide receivers against the defensive backs from Southeastern Louisiana. Although Southeastern's pass defense is allowing just 148 passing yards per game. They've been very good, but this is just a completely different level of competition. So I'd love to see the passing offense get going. Number 2, I would like to see LSU run the ball. So again, apologies to Brian Kelly for talking about the offense, but I think he understands it as well, that we need to see this offense get going. This is an LSU offense that presently ranks 117th in America in rushing offense. Now, I also do and can readily understand and appreciate the fact that LSU has played two of the best defensive lines in college football. Clemson and Florida are two of the best defensive lines in college football, and you have 5 new starters on the offensive line. So I understand and can appreciate the challenge you've had. Now, the flip side is people are going to say, well, what about Louisiana Tech? And I understand. Well, you're facing a 3-3 stack. It's a difficult front that you don't often see. And then I would also look at that and say you lost Braylon Moore 1 snap into the game. And so, yes, that is going to have a negative domino effect on your offense. And with all respect to DJ Chester, who played a lot of football, like Braylon Moore is the center of your defense. He's the glue in the middle, and that hurt. There's no excuse this week. You've got your offensive line. You're going against an inferior front. You have got to go run the football. You've got to be technically sound. You've got to be more physical than them. You've got to commit to it, and you've got to go run the football. So that's the do. Stretch the field, run the ball. Number 3, how about Bauer Sharp? Remember, what an interesting storyline in a game that really doesn't have many of them. Bauer Sharp, of course, signed as a high school quarterback with Southeastern. And as you heard Frank Selfo say on the show, they gave him an opportunity to play quarterback. He wasn't very consistent throwing the ball, so they moved him to tight end because he's a great athlete, a team guy, and wants to win. And he did that so well, he was able to parlay that into an opportunity at Oklahoma and now at LSU. So Bauer Sharp will be taking the field against his former team now on Saturday. And how cool would it be if Bauer Sharp scores his first touchdown as a Tiger against his former team in Tiger Stadium? So that's maybe a cool little layer of intrigue to see if maybe Bauer Sharp can have that opportunity in this game if they maybe don't look for him in a red zone situation, see if they can get Bauer Sharp in the end zone for the first time and do it against Southeastern Louisiana. I also am looking forward to, I would tell you, number 4 would be some of these young guys. As a matter of fact, Brian Kelly, was asked on Thursday night if this was an opportunity maybe to get some young guys in the game. And at first he kind of guffawed a little bit at that because you got to go win the game. But he did sort of relent there and acknowledge, it would be a good thing to see.
We'll be prepared, right, to play whoever is necessary in those times. But I really like the way Brown is practicing at defensive tack. Mathis those two guys are really good players, and they're going to be really good players here. I like the way they're competing. C.J. Jackson's been awesome. Kalaj Cobbins, Carpenter, all those guys that haven't got a lot of work. Would it be great? Yes, but I can't think that far ahead. And my focus is so much what's right in front of me.
He's talking a lot about the defensive line there, and it would be great. One of the things I think that is revealing itself through fall camp in the early part of this season is that LSU recruited exceptionally well in the defensive front 7. Those young defensive linemen, we've seen Buddy Mathis already factor into the rotation, not just in blowouts, but in key moments. He played a couple snaps against Clemson, but then also at linebacker, which you start to see with Witt being ejected, then West being injured. You saw Devon Keys. Saw Tylen Singleton, who we talked a lot about during camp, how he flashed. You even saw Zach Weeks get on the field last week in a late-game scenario. Brian Kelly talked about how Zach Weeks was able to earn these reps even as an early enrollee reclass.
Yeah, it would just be where he is on the depth chart. He's still learning, Koki, but he plays so hard and fast and has got a great motor and certainly is an elite athlete. So, you take those things and know that, look, he would not have gotten in the game unless there were some injuries, and certainly 2 of them. And then we needed to give Devon Keys, who doubled up his snaps from the week before, he needed a blow. And, so sometimes you can rely on just being a really good athlete, maybe not having the scheme down to where he wants it to be or where it could be later in the year. But he's just an outstanding athlete.
Keep track of this because for Zach Weeks, the intent is to redshirt him. He can play in 4 games. That's 1. He'll likely see the field in this one. That would be 2. You would assume Western Kentucky in November would be 3, which means there would be only one other opportunity. So that's something to keep an eye on. I would love to see the 3 Weeks brothers all on the field together in this game. This would be the most logical opportunity against the FCS team on your schedule. However, unfortunately, West Weeks with the calf is not going to play on Saturday, so we're not going to see the opportunity to see the 3 Weeks brothers on the field. We'll have to wait for another opportunity, maybe, against Western Kentucky in November. But we'd love to see that happen at some point this year. This was the most obvious obvious chance for it to happen, but it won't, which sort of overlays into my final point of what to watch, which is, please, God, just stay healthy. Get out of this game without injury. I mean, 2 weeks ago, you played Louisiana Tech. On the first play of the game, Braylon Moore gets rolled up, high ankle sprain. And then the second half, Trades Green gets rolled up, sprained MCL. Next week, you have your first road conference game. You need to be at or near 100%. I'm totally on board with not playing West Weeks this week. I would love it if they would sit Braylon Moore this week to get him even closer to healthy, but it looks like they're going to play him, which I find hard to explain. But just get out of this game without injury. That is aside from winning the game, the most important thing is just get out of this game healthy and go to Ole Miss next week and get a road conference win, go into your open date, and then get ready to roll through the rest of October. Tigers and Lions. I'll pick it 45-0. I don't think LSU's out there to embarrass Southeastern, but Southeastern also didn't score against Louisiana Tech. Hard to imagine them getting anything going against this LSU team. One thing worth mentioning, Southeastern by quarter scored 35 points in the first quarter, 35 points in the second quarter, 17 in the third, 14 in the fourth. So they score early. So if LSU defensively can get going against them early, it might be really tough for Southeastern to crack the scoreboard. Meanwhile, defensively, Southeastern's been very good in the first half, only allowing 10 points in the first quarter, 6 points in the second quarter, but then 21 in the third and 14 in the fourth. So there's probably going to be some opportunity as the game wears on for LSU offensively, even with backups, to get going against that Southeastern defense. I'll take the Tigers 45-0 to blank the Lions on Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back here from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. We'll do a little Ask Us or Ask Matt if you want to do it, and get your questions in. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Ask Us to wrap up is next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. The weekend is here. Y'all, the fall decor displays at Clegg's. Chef's kiss. They always do an amazing job. The selection is incredible. Pumpkins and hay bales, squash gourds, wheat stalks, corn stalks, scarecrows. If you want to do that fall display on your front porch, on your back patio, maybe in the lobby of your office building, Clegg's has got the best selection. And with 4 locations, you're never far from a Clegg's Nursery location. Again, Seagan near Airline. In Denham, the LA-16 location, you exit I-12. You're going down LA-16 about 5 miles on the left. You can't miss it. I mean, there's another garden center within a 5-mile radius of that garden center right there on LA-16. Mid-City on Donmore. If you're on Florida, you turn off of Florida on Donmore. It's right there on the right. And then the garden center on Greenwell Springs, which just seemingly goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. It's easy. It's right there as you're leaving Central. It's Clegg's Nursery.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We come final segment here on a Friday edition of AFR, live from Don Juan Cigar Bar, again presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. Just sincere thanks to Sagamore Spirit Rye, to April Burke-Coulter, who is here with us. She was our celebrity guest picker today, one of the greatest gymnasts in the history of LSU, now a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. April was in school when I was, and for those who remember, I mean, she was phenomenal. I mean, she was one of the greatest in the history of that program, and really cool to connect here. And for her, now living in Houston, being the rep for Sagamore Spirit Rye, and having East Texas and all of Louisiana, and to connect and to come back to the place where she was a star in college, and to call on these different businesses and us to have the opportunity to work together to help promote this brand and do this thing was really cool. So sincerely appreciate April for coming. I mean, she flew in this morning to New Orleans from Houston and drove from New Orleans to Baton Rouge here for the show, and was our guest picker, and had a lot of fun with that, so we appreciate her sincerely. So I'm serious, man. If you're a retailer, restaurant, bar owner, please, carry Sagamore Spirit. Give it a try. Y'all know, man, as much as of a whiskey nerd as I am, I wouldn't peddle something that isn't good. I mean, I've had other spirit brands reach out to me and ask if I'd be willing to promote, and I've tried it and said no. Candidly, this is really good. It's a fantastic product, so highly recommend you give it a try. Sagamore Spirit Rye. All right, it is after further review. We get to ask us to, I only got about 90 seconds. We got to pick the winners. All right, let me do this. Dear Delandra, would you like to draw the winners so I don't get accused of anything?
Yeah, I'll draw it.
Here you go, Delandra.
Does anybody want to ask me something?
Hey there, Delandra.
Is there an Ask Delandra?
Is there an Ask Delandra? I can see. Well, all right. We've got two pair of tickets and the baseball.
So one winner each, though?
So let's draw
three
winners. Let's draw for a pair of tickets first.
Okay.
You read the name, or if you want me to read it, you pull it and you pick.
Can I get a drum roll? Corey Van Foley.
Corey wins a pair of tickets. All right, I'll take that. Corey wins a pair of tickets.
And then
next pair of tickets.
Okay.
Corey Van Fallings wins a pair of tickets to the game.
And
the other pair of tickets.
Matthew Moran.
Matthew Moran.
Where
are you from?
I'm Mexican. Everything's
that's true. Moran. Come on now.
Okay.
All right. Tickets for Corey and for Matthew and for the commemorative baseball.
For the baseball.
We literally have like 20 seconds.
Okay. Joshua Hollins.
Hey, Joshua Hollins. Joshua Hollins wins the baseball. Congratulations. All right. That's going to do it for us here. Dear Delandra, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Excellent job, as always, keeping us running here flawlessly on site. Muse Pauly back in studio. Appreciate y'all greatly. Y'all have an awesome weekend. Enjoy your football weekend. We'll see you back in studio Monday at 3.
After further review.
As we get on down the road, remind you about our friends at Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar. Yes, absolutely. You see commercials, and there's Garrett Nussmeier endorsing Our Lady of the Lake, an awesome NIL deal that Our Lady of the Lake has done with LSU starting quarterback. So many NIL deals that Our Lady of the Lake has done with LSU athletes. I can't wait to tell you more and more about that. Our Lady of the Lake physicians are on the field there at LSU, taking care of the champions on the field and off of it. But at Our Lady of the Lake, it's so much more than just the championship health partnership. Of course, that's a massive thing for LSU, for Our Lady of the Lake, but for our community as well. They're investing $250 million in facility upgrades this year in their facilities around the greater Baton Rouge area and throughout the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady Health System. It's Our Lady of the Lake, OLOLRMC.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar.